Your Highness, thank you for being here with us. El Cid, thank you for being here with us. Today we want to know more about the famous Takhayyal piece that we've worked in collaboration with Tashkeel. We want to know what was your vision behind it.
My vision behind it was actually the word imagine is something that opens up so much door, as an artist, as a human being in general, and so many conversations that we had together. Like she often, if you notice, she often starts something with imagine when you speak about something. And for me, it was like a kind of circle, like I'm circling back to where my relationship with Tashkeel started more than 10 years ago, 2013. And that's it. And then for me, like putting Takhayyal, in front of Tashkeel was not closing the story, but just circling back and saying, look.
I think for me, when we first pitched that location to Dubai Culture, I think it was right that El Cid was the person. I remember him mixing the paint. He always says, I mixed the paint in this building in 2013. So one day he actually took me outside and looked for the interlock to look at where the paint drops. Are they still there or not? We were discussing back and forth about Takhayyal and the word actually itself. El Cid always says, make a piece belong to the place that you put it, as well as belonging to Tashkeel, because a starting point is like a flame that sparks you and gets you to imagine. And that's how his form actually came about, where he was trying to do it almost like a flame that's coming out of the ground. And the only right place that we found that piece was right in front of the building.
Tell us about you as an artist and as a public art artist. Going back to history, and thanks to Her Highness Sheikha Lateefa, you were more of a 2D calligraphy artist. And throughout the years, you've transitioned to doing more of public art and murals. How did you feel that transition has helped you become the person who you are today?
I think the transition really happened, in 2013. That was the time where I was really into mural, and Sheikha Lateefa invited me for this residency in Dubai. It's where I came. And I had this vision, so it was weird because I used to close my eyes and I could see my work in 3D. It was impossible to explain to anybody. And it was so difficult for me to sketch. And I tried so many stuff like clay and aluminium and so many wood, and we still have all those little, I think I have a piece here, the first one.
piece.
Yeah. And then for me, being able to portray my work in 3D allows me to actually offer a different point of view. When you do a painting or mural, there's only one way of looking at it. And a sculpture, it become more something abstract, more than, people in my calligraphy, they always want to decipher what's written. And on the calligraphy in 3D, there is something more abstract. There is a dynamic, that's part of the piece itself. And you don't create a piece with the words or the letters, but with a shape. So you always start with a shape, and that's how Takhayyal was born.
But I think the initial years when El Cid was with us, I remember the ideas. I remember there was, I'm not going to say exactly what it was, but it was conversations of going up in a helicopter and looking at artwork from above. Yeah. It was looking at different areas like DIFC and even the ocean surface and how to do things on the ocean surface. And I think the beauty of that time is we just bounced off ideas, and there was no limit to imagination.
That's true.
So it was, okay, see, what do you want to do today? He's like, a giant dominoes. I'm like, okay, how are you going to do that? Remember that?
Yeah, dominoes. Yeah, that's true.
So I think the beauty of brainstorming is just let the ideas flow.
Yeah.
Let the initial ideas, the starter ones, they might show you an end point that will come in 10 years' time.
That's true.
But drop them, say them, envision them. And then start with your little wooden block, or start with a sketch, or start with whatever it is. But I think that was the beauty of being in the artist studios and him being there. It's just we talked. And I think in the end, he already had it. The way he shades, for example, the painting that's behind you also, it already shows that there is a relief. It already shows you that he's looking at it in a form, almost a sculptural painter at the same time. So I think he always had the sculpture in him. But it's just the imagination of
which
when he wanted
relates to the actual name and to the actual piece and how it's actually looking at right now. And mashallah, I'll see you've set the standard so high right now with the other artists that any other calligrapher, the first name that comes to mind is Al-Sid. Mashallah.
Okay.
Your Highness, coming back to public art is art by the public for the public. And we want to understand, from your point of view, what do you think is currently missing right now in the public art scene? And where do you envision it in the next 10 years?
We were talking earlier actually about interactivity. And before the unveiling of Takhayyal, we took our kids. He brought his twins, I brought my children. And we just left them there on that, actually it's a little island, it's not a roundabout. But we kept looking at them and saying, look, this would actually work as a physical playground or a physical public work. The way that we saw them playing showed us that actually it's possible. And how do we actually make this work? I think the interactivity with public art, you don't need an artist standing there to explain what a piece is. It has to live and survive and react to where it is. We had that conversation earlier with this LC. How do you see?
No, that's the same. Like for me, like putting a place, as you mentioned, like when you put an art piece in the public space, it belongs to the public. For me, it's important that the piece is built for the community where it's standing. You know, otherwise people, they won't feel connected. A lot of time you go to places and you have like communities who are telling you like, I don't understand this piece. You know, we don't know who did it. They brought this guy from I don't know where and he just dropped this here and it doesn't represent us. You know, and I think what's important is to make sure that communities are involved also in, not in the artistic process, but in all like this thought and that comes before installing the artwork, so they can understand why we're doing this, you know. And it's not, you mentioned earlier like the word decoration. I think it should be like beautification. People, they say, we don't want you to decorate our neighborhood, but maybe you can beautify it.
Beautify.
It's part of beautifying, but at the same time, if you plaster it as if it's beautifying, as if it's a pattern, people will stop seeing it. You have to find the gray spaces. I always call them the gray spaces. The spaces that are forgotten, but once you place one thing in there, whether it's an activation of food or art or both, it will start flourishing. For example, the Sharjah Biennale, they had an artist paint a football pitch right in front of the museum. And in the middle of that football pitch, there was a lighting pole. And he did it on purpose to keep the lighting pole there. He could have removed it with part of the Biennale, but he didn't. He wanted to show people that I'm going to put simple lines on this interlock floor and watch how people activate it. They will interact with it and activate this entire space just because those lines are there, and they will dodge that light post every single time while playing football. And I interned with them years ago when that football pitch was done. I used to see children after school every single day engaging with it. And then there was a cafe next door. The parents used to sit, watch their kids play on that pitch just because simple lines were drawn on the floor. So it shows you a social impact and then economic impact by other shops and other businesses around it getting business because of this interaction of the artwork. People will stop over to have some food. Maybe they'll see some product that they wanted to buy.
Mm-hmm.
I think public art has to connect with the people.
Yeah.
And even the artists themselves, you can't, like Al-Sid said, bring them and just drop them to bring the artwork and just leave. It has to be researched. It has to be connected. And if it's not, actually, you can't trick the public. The public actually know and feel it. They know that disconnect.
Which is very important. Right now, what we're doing as the biculture, we're trying to enable the local sector, and that role of what we're doing is actually we want to make public art pieces that connect with the people, with the surroundings, which has been for the last 2 years we're doing site-specific public artworks, and mashallah, Al-Sid is one of those site-specific public artworks that we've been working with Tashkeel on, and there are other few public art pieces that we will be launching very soon also with Tashkeel that are also site-specific. And that interaction between the artist, the community, and the upcoming future communities is what we're trying to do. It's more of a storytelling and a journey of public art. Your Highness, as someone who has shaped the UAE artistic landscape, if there is one message you'd like to leave for the future generation of artists and cultural leaders, what would it be?
It's stay curious. Stay curious, stay challenging yourself, and keep experimenting. And I repeatedly say this, is don't make art that looks like art, make it look like you.
Okay.
Understand the importance of looking outside of art in order to affect art. For example, like you see doing the project in Egypt, he actually engaged the community in order to produce that piece, create a belonging, understand the people in that community, and then look within the communities of where those stories are and then how to reflect them. Because sometimes within the community themselves, you'll find something that informs your form, your textures, your material selection. So it's about curiosity, it's about engagement, it's about opening a door that you think isn't openable, but actually it's just by saying hello and taking that step. And I think Al-Sid is very, very good with that. Because when he travels from community to community, that's how he opens doors and creates an acceptance for him there. And doesn't just say, I'm here, I'm gonna paint this and I'm gonna leave. But it's more about looking to the stories. And I think the way I see his passion is actually when he interacts more in the communities, creating for the communities, that's when I see your work shine and I see the spark happen. I think his spark is more in the communities, in creating work within those spaces.
I think, yeah, she's right on this. I always say that I collect moments, and I think when you ask me about all the projects that I've done, I will never tell you, on this project I painted this or I use this color. I will tell you stories that I live with the people, and that's what lasts actually, because all the artwork, they will disappear at some point. But the memories that you lived, the moment that you live with those people, you cherish them.
And I feel that ends the conversation.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you for your time.
It was cool.